You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, April 24th show. You can also listen to our podcast or our Facebook premiere show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint, 1 week and one show at a time. If you are hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We are here to answer your questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And now in studio, we have Chandler Hueckel of Private Practice Transitions. When is the best time to sell your private practice? Right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
So Chandler, let's get right to the basics here. Tell us briefly about what your company does.
Yeah, thanks, Keelan. So we're Private Practice Transitions. We're a Puget Sound-based firm offering intermediary brokerage services and business consulting. We primarily focus on the sale of private practices. So we would represent someone who has owned their business and wishes to sell it and transfer to another buyer. We specifically have found niches and specializations in accounting and CPA firms, law firms, and physical therapy practices across the Northwest.
With all of the challenges that we all experience at some level in our businesses, how is your company doing right now?
Yeah, well, for everybody, obviously last year was a roller coaster. It was interesting to navigate, because we stuck to our approach and kind of unwavering belief that the businesses that we represented at the time and subsequently after March 13th still had incredible value. We stuck to our process and approach, and that resulted in the best year that we've ever had as a company. So we were fortunate enough to have that become a realization. I think a lot of it is that, as we talked earlier, buyers understand there's good opportunity. Sellers still have a desire to exit and transition their clients and their business to someone qualified. We have a strong reputation in the market to deliver for our clients. Again, we didn't change that approach. If anything, we doubled down and tried to make sure that we were even more prevalent in the market because we knew we had the ability to create a good success and conversion rate for our clients. One of the key things we focus on when we talk to our clients is that we have a 100% success rate with people that we end up listing, meaning every single person that we have listed with our company's history, we have been able to present an offer to. It's unique. We pride ourselves on it, and it's really because we work really hard to make sure we're putting out the right net, casting the right net to bring the right people in so our clients feel like they have a good buyer to choose from.
I love that. What I love about that most is this whole COVID thing has really kind of changed people's gears and their minds a little bit, kind of shook them up. And we have the best of the best, obviously, here in studio. And it's really brought people to that challenge to excel their business and adapt to whatever that new world's going to be. And every one of them, it seems, has left this, experience in a better place, which is really exciting to see. And you mentioned accounting firms, and I know that industry specifically, it's been a very tough time for that industry. I was curious to know, do you see or anticipate a jump in owners looking to sell?
Yeah, it's always hard to predict. We like to think we know, but it's best laid plans and all. We do feel like it is going to continue to increase, but I don't think it's necessarily, some of it is what's happening right now. Some of it stems back to even 16, 17, when a lot of the tax law changes came to be. There's been a tremendous change in federal tax law for the past 4 or 5 years. And now with the last 2 years, PPP, EIDL loans, and all the subsidies that have come out with COVID, it's giving a lot of CPAs and accountants fits to some degree that have to learn a new way of doing things. So there's CPAs that I've talked to plenty that say they're tired of adapting and changing with what's consistently happening in the market. And it may be tipping them over the fence to at least have a conversation with us. We typically have conversations for up to a year or more with people before they're actually ready to sign up with us and sell. And we do provide that consultant environment where we're an ear, we're an expert, we can talk to them. We don't charge them for an hourly rate. We just want to make sure we get to a point with them where they feel confident in us and we can go test the market. Right now, we should be having accountants and CPAs done with the tax season. We have another extension out to May 17th. So it's further creating some of that, that tired feeling, I guess. They should be on vacation and they're not. So I'd be cranky about that. A little bit of added stress.
Yeah, and you've talked about really strategizing a year up front, as Keelan was sharing in the beginning. I mean, there's a lot to do on the mortgage side. I bet when you're preparing somebody to sell their business, there's a little bit more to do. So Chandler, there's been a lot of news lately about the capital gains tax, and how does that impact your clients or someone that's thinking about selling their private practice?
Yeah, it's certainly something to keep a finger on the pulse for. From a federal perspective, I think it's been made pretty clear there could be capital gains tax rate increases. Washington State as well has a law that has been passed now, and I believe is going back to the House. So things to look at if you're a business owner, because it can affect your take home at the end of the day. We have some great content on our website and things that we put out as well that you can read about or just talk to us about. The nice thing is we have a lot of CPA clients, so they can fortunately keep us up to date on a lot of those tax law changes. It's like the best client to have, right? They can easily tell us what's happening. To that end, a lot of our clients, whether they're CPAs or others, they spend so much time helping their own clients. They forget to help themselves. That's part of the reason why we want to get in front of them. We talk to them about making a succession plan, whether it's now, 3 years, 5 years, it's never too early. If you're not thinking about selling, you're not thinking far enough ahead. And truly, you need to have a plan, because you can't get to where you want to go selling your business, whether it's a dollar amount or a person, if you don't have an idea of how you're going to get there. So we ask our clients to take their own advice, whether it's the tax or physical therapy or attorneys. Plan, talk to a professional like us, and let us help you.
I can imagine you never know what you're sitting on with a business. So I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of clients that have owned a business and sold it and made a big chunk of change. And that's really exciting. And some of these, you hear about like the .com businesses and stuff, some of the amounts of money. I wonder if they ever knew how much their business is really worth. Is there a way for potential sellers to get a rough idea from you guys about what they are sitting on and what their business is worth?
Absolutely. You can go to our website and fill in a form pretty easily to get connected with us, or just email or call us. We offer a valuation snapshot. We don't charge anything. Essentially, we ask for 3 years of profit and loss statements. And someone on our team, whether it's myself or another member, can easily go through, get a range, get an idea of where you would land, and then we can dive in more specifically with you. We also offer formal opinions of value for a fee that has a much deeper dive-in process. But really, picking up the phone or sending an email is the best way to start with us, and we're happy to oblige.
So Chandler, everybody is still trying to navigate through COVID, trying to figure out what the new normal is. Is there a right and perfect time to sell?
I think with the success that we've been seeing right now is great from an economic perspective, but I think it's very individual. Most of the time, people are reaching some level of stress or burnout where they're saying I need to be done, or it's a family decision. Their spouse wants to travel. They want to go do things that are not be tied to a business because it's a lot of work. The number one question we ask people before we get engaged formally is, how much longer do they need to work? Is it a monetary decision? Is it an emotional decision? It's all of the above normally, but one is more important than the other. And we like to flush that out with our clients to make sure that they're really making a decision that they're comfortable with, not just testing the market and seeing what happens. We want them all in and fully ready before we actually go forward.
Super smart, Chandler, making sure you get the details and actually digging deep to find out what the real goal is there. I was just thinking about this as you're talking about this. You mentioned physical therapy. I had a knee injury, and I talked to my physical therapist. We're buddies all the time about his business, and it's a family business, and he's expanding. So for those listeners out there, thinking about selling their private practice, how long do you think? I'm curious on that transition out of the business. How long does that usually take as far as the process goes to where they are moving their way out?
Yeah, good question. It's longer than most people think it is. There's two sections, right? There's pre-deal and post-deal. We can start talking about pre-deal timeline, and that's really before we're actually live and then live and then closed. We will go through and gather a lot of financial information, a lot of details about the client's business, our due diligence phase, if you will. And once we're ready to go live, we have to market. It takes time to find the right person. And most importantly, we want to vet the buyers, and we want to make sure that our client is truly happy with the decision that they're making to move forward with somebody, because it's a big deal. It's their business, it's their legacy that they're transitioning, and they need to have the right person to do that with.
So Chandler, you mentioned the post deal. What does that timeline entail?
Yeah, so typically, it may be the pre-deal, maybe 12 months or so. Post-close is typically 6 to 12 months. The longer an owner is willing to stay, the greater the value their business has to a buyer. As you can imagine, if you own the business, you know everything about it. If you're willing to stick around for a longer period of time, it greatly enhances the value and essentially the price that you can get for your business, because you are willing to help that buyer succeed.
That makes sense. There's a transitionary period there. I can see a lot of value in that. You don't know what you don't know. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You're super passionate, obviously, about your business and what you do, Chandler. Can you tell us specifically what sets private practice transitions apart from the rest?
Yeah. I think we have a real diverse background. My banking and finance background is not unique to what we do, but it's very helpful. Justin Farmer is an attorney prior to doing this and is still licensed. While we don't represent people from a legal perspective, his eyes on something in his brain is fantastic to have. We've got a project manager on our team as well. So to that end, the white glove service I talked about earlier is truly what we pride ourselves on. And I think that the team that we have makes us unique.
So Chandler, as we're wrapping up our time for our interview with you, is there any final words that you would like to leave with our listeners?
We're open for conversation. We really like talking to people. If you can imagine, we'd love for you to visit the website, inquire, sign up for our newsletter if you want to get information about us. The other thing too is we've talked a lot about sellers. If you're a buyer, look at the website, send us an email and inquire. We have plenty of opportunities, and we're happy to help walk somebody through how to buy a business, how to finance, and get you connected with the right advisors that may or may not be ourselves.
Wonderful. Chandler, thank you so much for the chance to have a conversation with you today on our show.
Thanks for having me.